Mabuhay! Isang mainit na pagbati mula sa puso, mula sa aming lahat dito sa Bridges.
Isang pagbati po ng mapayapa, malusog, at magandang gabi sa isang espesyal na araw.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers here and abroad.
Good evening and good morning to all our viewers worldwide.
I'm truly honored to join you tonight.
Good afternoon from wherever you're at, and once again, thanks for tuning in.
Good evening to all our viewers around the world.
This is one of the best episodes we will have in Bridges, certainly, Ma'am Evelyn, right?
Totoo yan. Because tonight, we're going to feature yung very well-known natin.
So, kanina nung greetings nyo kanina, sabi ko, ay, worldwide pala ito, kaya dapat i-cover ko lahat ng mga greetings ng morning, afternoon, and evening.
First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me. At ako yung inyong featured guest. Tumaba naman yung puso.
Thank you very much for joining us this very early morning there in LA.
Hindi ko nga pinatulog tong anak ko para gisingin lang ako. Kaya hanggang ngayon gising pa sila.
Siyempre, kailangan ko munang batiin ang ating mga kasamahan na Thomasino dito sa Bicol. Ang mga Thomasinong Bicolano, marami po sa kanilang nanonood ngayon.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pag-invite sa akin dito at magandang gabi. Thank you sa mga viewers.
I'm so glad po, and it's really a big privilege to be here po in this episode of Bridges.
Salamat sa magandang pagpapakilala. May kulang po doon. Sa UST Hospital din po ako pinanganak. Kaya talagang Thomasian.
Thomasian all the way. Welcome to the show.
Ganda pa naman ang sinabi ko, hindi ko na narinig. So, hi everyone, and nice to be back.
So glad to be here on Bridges at naway magkaroon tayo ng mas fruitful na pag-usapan.
So, Father, good afternoon.
Marami bang mga youth ngayon, mga kabataan, mga K-pop, panyong siyo.
Magandang gabi din sa ating mga fellow Thomasians and all those who are watching.
I'm glad for trusting me for this particular very important topic.
Kailangan po natin ng mga bridges na katulad ninyo at maraming po tumutulong sa ating mga adhikain.
No, it's 17. Accurate.
A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Ang misabi po niyan ay si Christopher Reeves, ang kilala nating original Superman. Kaya po nakakatuwang isipin that indeed, sabi naman ni Bob O'Reilly, hard times don't create heroes. Sabi nila, it is during the hard times when the hero within us is revealed. Magandang araw po sa inyo. Today's special show is brought to you by UST Alumni Association Incorporated, the UST Nursing Alumni Association, and CBRC. Isang mainit na pagbati po sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, or kung ano man pong oras sa inyong lugar. Binabati po kayo sa ngalan ng University of Santo Tomas Alumni Association Incorporated. Kayo pong lahat na nasa iba't ibang bahagi ng daigdig. I'm Dr. Carl Balita. Ako po ang Pangulo ng UST Nursing Alumni Association Incorporated at ako po ang naatasang maging moderator at maging host sa araw na ito sa ngalan po ng ating mga opisyales ng UST Alumni Association na mamaya po ipapakilala ko sa inyo. Sa ngayon, you know, there were heroes who crossed the London Bridge. And there are many heroes who cross other bridges. But for tonight and for today, we will be meeting a heroine who crossed the London Bridge. I'd like to introduce to you the lady who first injected a COVID vaccine in the world. She holds that record. And of course, a George Cross awardee of no less than Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, early this year. May Parsons, direct and live from London. Hi, May.
Hello, good morning po, and thank you for having me this morning. I hope everyone is feeling good and feeling, blessed today.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see you once again, even virtually. You know, I was so blessed to have met you up close and personal during your visit here in the Philippines. By the way, let's start with that. One of the milestones of your visit at the Philippines last month was that visit to your beloved alma mater, the University of Santo Tomas. How did you feel about that?
Oh, Doc, the homecoming and returning to UST, where obviously as a nurse I was built as I am now, it has been enormously heartwarming. The Filipinos culture is obviously shining through, but also the Thomasian values has really told me what it was to feel that you belong in the community. UST has welcomed me so warmly the last time I was there. It's truly a blessing for me to even be a part of the UST family and to be shown what it really feels like to be part of the UST community and family. It's absolutely heartwarming. It's grabe. Para akong umuwi. So it's like coming home to where people really values me and me as a person. So it was really lovely.
You felt home. Actually, I will refresh your memory. Maagang-maaga ko po sinundo si May because we dropped by a bag giving activity dito sa Juan Luna Elementary School. And of course, that was also fulfilling. No, May? Namigay tayo ng mga bags sa mga bata on their first day of school.
Yeah, we did. And that was so lovely as well. Because the kids, para gusto ko ulit magka-baby ulit. Pero the broodiness was there. But it was so lovely to see the kids and all PC Doc. That act is so nice of you to do. It's the charitable endeavors that we do. So you're not expecting anything in return, but it's so good. You're going to be blessed.
Yeah, and then after that, may naalala ko, we were with Dr. Evelyn Songko, and I asked you, what almusal did you want? And you requested for tapa, right? And you requested for tapa because we still had time before we go to the UST campus, no? And how did you like the tapa that I served you? Masarap? And you missed it, right?
So lovely. Grabe, wala kaming beef tapa dito. I don't even know how to make it. So that was really nice. So parang kayo po, pag naalala ko dati yung mga baon yung tapa, kakain kayo sa the pizza, may tapa, the barbecue there, so it's really nice.
Yeah. Then alam mo, kaya ko nire-refresh yung memory mo because from that breakfast with Ma'am Evelyn Songko, okay, you rode my car, we went to the campus, described to us the feeling na pumapasok ka sa campus again after about 20 years. And we were entering the camp. We used the gate that used to be the gymnasium during your time.
Opo.
During our time.
Opo.
Then we entered, we passed by the chapel, and then we went to the main building. What were you feeling at that time? Kwento mo sa amin.
It was, ano po, yun nga sabi ko kanina, the feeling of coming home, the feeling of, you know, this place even though it's different. It is parang yung, ano po, yung very familiar siya even though it's different. Does that make sense? So it's parang, nag-iba yung landscape. Obviously, the building was different. There's new buildings there. There's high towers inside. Pero it's still like...
It's really home. You felt home. You really felt home.
But I really felt home. At saka po, it brings back memories of when I used to go to UST. Na you go to the gym, you go into swim, you go with your classmates, you go out, you know, all those things na pinapaalala niya when in your college days. It's the thing that will... Kumbaga, you have to take it seriously because it's your future. It's the things that you're learning to do and things like that. Pero there's the fun bits. Those are the things the experiences that you have in university that will stay with you all throughout. So for me, it just gives me that memory back of how hard it was, the exams, the cramming, the night shift. Pero it was, I don't think I would have ever changed it for what it was.
Yeah, you know, I had to refresh you. It's because you really gave you a hero's welcome. You know, the flowers you got, you know, bouquets and bouquets of flowers. Hindi mo na nga mahawakan. You had to sign your signature in that guest book. Let me just refresh you. And then you were ushered to the Vice Rector's office. And I wanted to start with that because May Parsons, you deserve that hero's welcome. Because no less than the Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, actually gave you that cross, the George Cross medal because of what you have done. And we'll be showing some pictures of that. And right here, we're showing, there you are seated with the late Queen. And of course, the King now. Yeah, if she's a saint, you're a relic because you're so lucky to have her. No? And few months after she passed away. And of course, on the other side is the King, the now King Charles. Yeah, tell us what that medal which was given to you. Tell us more about it for those who don't know it yet.
So, bali po, the George Cross Medal is awarded to non-military people, so yung hindi po kasama ng militar, for acts of bravery and valor and courage in times of adversity. So basically, ang recipient po niyan is Malta, and also Royal Constabulary of Ireland, and the third po is the National Health Service of the UK in its actions done or service rendered during the COVID pandemic. So obviously, we are not military personnel, and also the fact that actually we were saying that our promise to serve our community stays with us, even through the hardships of the pandemic, knowing that we're going to be, sadly affected by it. So there's a lot of healthcare workers who passed away during COVID pandemic because of the virus. So even though faced with adversities like that, we still stood strong and we still did our service. We still committed ourselves to fulfilling that promise of serving our community. And obviously, the Queen has recognized that bravery and courage from the National Health Service in its action towards helping to during the pandemic. So yun yung kumagabasehan kung bakit po nila binigay yung George Cross for us. This is the highest award for bravery for non-military people. So for the Queen to recognize that actually the National Health Service of the United Kingdom has done enormously to serve its people during hardship, obviously thinking that they could have also carried.
And we're very glad, May, when we saw this in the news. Personally, I did not know you were a Thomasian. It was only Ma'am Ida Chonko who informed all of us that this May Parsons in the news, who actually received this medal from Queen Elizabeth, is a Filipino. And then we were celebrating as a Thomasian community, saying that, hey, not only that a Filipino nurse received it, but it's even a Thomasian nurse receiving it on one side. And we were celebrating with you. We're celebrating. Look at that. Look at this picture and look at how happy you were in this picture. No? What were you feeling at this moment? Tell us. And you're right in front of the Queen. Mamaya natin pag-usapan yung human interest na how was the Queen Ano ba ang kanyang behavior? Ano sinabi niya sa'yo? How did you find her? Mamaya yon. But what did you feel at this moment?
She made me feel comfortable. Doc, I think I said in one of my interviews before that people's memory stays with you, not with the things that they tell you, not with the words that they say, but about how they make you feel. Now, the Queen, as high as she is in the hierarchy of people, she made me feel like I belong there. She made me feel like I am meant to be there in front of her, speaking to her. She made me feel so at home in her house. She made me feel that I belong there with her. Na, you have this imposter feeling na you shouldn't be there. Why are you, parang hindi sapat yung ginawa ko to be there in front of her. But actually, she made you feel like you do. You belong there with her. She made me feel so comfortable and welcome. So, sabi ko nga sa interview ko dati, it's not what she told me, it's how she made me feel. And she made me feel so welcome sa bahay niya. And it's so nerve-wracking to be in front of somebody representing such an enormous organization with on this little Filipino shoulder.
Yeah.
It was heavy. Pero she made me feel really, really welcomed and at ease. So not a lot of people can easily say that you have that ability, and she definitely has.
Yeah. So wow, I can just imagine the feeling. Yung alang mapanood namin siya sa television, talagang wala lang, ma-amaze ka na because she's the queen, diba? And now you're even like less than 2 feet away from her, and look at how close. Was there a particular word she mentioned to you, she told you?
I know. This is because when we came up to her, we did our courtesy, we introduced ourselves, and she asked me what I do. So I said to her, I'm a nurse, and I also manage the COVID ward, and also did the COVID vaccination. And the first thing she said was, "Are you still alive?" So medyo nagulat po ako. Nagulat po ako. Maski si Amanda, the chief executive of NHS England, was also like, "What?" And then she repeated it again. Kasi I think syempre na-shock kami pareho. And it makes you think that actually she has that incredible insight as to what the National Health Service or all of the health workers around the world is actually suffering, or what they're going through, or the things that they had to endure during the pandemic. So the insight for her is that you must be absolutely exhausted and you must be absolutely terrified, or gone through the mills, and it's what they said. Na talagang, are you still alive? Yung sabi ko sa kanya, I'm exhausted, but I'm still alive. So I think that is also one of the things that I really admire, that the insight. Not a lot of people will have insight as to what we do, but she clearly has. It's tremendous effort for everyone to actually, get up every day, daily, to face something that you think is probably going to kill you. So I think for her to actually realize that what we've done in the name of service is tremendous. So
because
it was funny at the time.
Go ahead, Meg. Go ahead.
So it was funny at the time, but obviously looking back at it and reflecting on the things that we've obviously exchanged, it's really incredible that she has that insight. Kaya nga sabi ko nga po, di ba, yung ibang tao, they don't really care. For her, she's not a healthcare worker, but she has that insight and that empathy towards us that actually we must have gone through a horrendous time in our careers, in our lives.
Because for her to equate, the greetings to life, are you still alive, means she appreciates and she values that life which she knew you were willing to even give up in the service of the people. It may just be a one-liner for the Queen. Are you still alive? It's not a question of sarcastic nature, but it was equivalent to saying, "Oh my, I'm so glad that you're still alive," because she knows for a fact that life is what was on the line, right? And in the line, and on the line, both in and on the line, when you were servicing her people, in her kingdom, that's how I interpret it. And of course, at that moment, there were Prince Charles. Did he? The King Charles now. Did he particularly mention something to you as well?
Hindi naman po. So when we had our official photograph, and the Queen left us and she said, Charles will now look after you. I'm going. So we all kind of rushed to get up on our feet and curtsy, and obviously we said goodbye. And King Charles, when we were walking out from that room, it's called the White Room. When we were walking to the Green Room, I said to him about, how grateful we are. And I said, on behalf of Filipino nurses and healthcare workers in the UK, I said, I would like to kind of express my gratitude in terms of actually valuing our contribution, and obviously this, receiving the George Cross on behalf of the NHS England. I was telling him how grateful we are, and clearly that is something that I'm trying to contribute to. Kasi nga po, diba, there's a global shortages of nurses, and I said I wanted to kind of contribute to the solution in terms of, getting our future workforce inspired, and to actually get our future workforce to choose a vocation or a career in not just in nursing, but in a caring profession, or even in the healthcare profession, because there's lots of other professionals. And this is what I was telling King Charles when we were walking from room to room. And but yeah, he's really he really wants to help. He really wants to kind of also shine a light to those people, not just the people that are in caring professions but are not having the same amount of exposure, like doctors, nurses, and other professions. He wants to also shine a light to those other people, which gives to me the impression that he values everyone, truly everyone within the healthcare profession and NHS.
That's good. And valuing is the beginning, really, of reflective learning. The experience of valuing. I mean, the valuing of that experience is really what would inspire, reflective learning, which I think is why she's queen and why King Charles is king. When we come back after a little gap, very short gap, I would ask you implication of the May Parsons receiving that medal as, number one, as a Filipino, number two, as a Thomasian nurse. And that's very important to us. I just wanted to start this with, a human interest story of you being seated by the Queen, like you're the princess at that time. You felt princess at that time. Of course, we were talking about, buti hindi ka nagmano, when you saw her. Is this something you regret? You would have done that.
Oh my God.
Kasi kung nagmano ka, that would have... You would have wanted, right? You would have wanted na magmano. Imagine.
I did. The urge is so strong, Doc. You're really nervous. You go back and you revert back to what's comfortable. And for me, what's comfortable is showing that respect to our elderly and doing the mano.
If you have done that, it would have been written in history as someone who showed the world how to treat a queen by doing that symbol of respect, that gesture of respect.
I was also scared. Yeah, I was also scared, Doc, because I didn't want to be tackled just in case I was handling the queen in the wrong way. So I was like, don't do that. Natatakot ako, baka wrestlingin ako.
When we're back, we'll talk about the implication of this experience to your being a Filipino, number one, to your being a Thomasian nurse, number two. For you to being Filipino, being a nurse, and being a Thomasian at that. So 3 areas. And of course, you will have to tell us why of all it was May Parsons who deserved to be there. You know why that question is important to all of us? It's because we want to follow your footsteps, May, for having achieved this and for having done this not only for yourself, but for people in NHS and for every Filipino and for everyone, every health professional in the world. And that's why we're back here at Bridges. Plato said, it was no less than Plato who said that a person is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. And that was by Plato. You know, there were hundreds of thousands of people in UK, health professional at that. May Parsons was lucky to have received the George Cross Medal from the Queen. May, why do you think you were chosen to receive it?
Bali po, Doc. So I obviously gave the first COVID vaccination to Margaret Queen in December 2020 outside of clinical trials, and also the actions that I've done after that. So when we've done the vaccination, I've also, in my own time, has endeavored to actually get the vaccination roll out to be as successful as it can be by going into Zoom and live question Q&A with people. There's a lot of questions and anti-vaccine that were going around at that point in time. And I made sure that I could do the best that I could in terms of getting people to be vaccinated and to be protected. So it's not just the vaccination itself, but the what I did after, being in the social media, being in the limelight, being in newspapers and things like that, has also got a other bit of the coin where you are being targeted by people that doesn't believe what you believe in. So in spite of all the social media bullying that I got, I still endeavored to actually get the right messages out there and the correct information. I was still trying to get people to be vaccinated. So they chose me because they knew that what I stood for, and also the things that I've done prior to and after. Kasi po, di ba, yung iba, they just do it and then that's it. But actually for me, I stood tall, I stood above the parapet and said, actually, this is something that you have to do. And also being a role model to people. I had my vaccine, I had triple jab now. So all of those things that I've done, so that's why they actually asked me to do the honor of receiving the George Cross from the Queen.
Beautiful indeed.
Also,
Yes.
Doc, I also managed my COVID wards in my trust which obviously I've done enormously well in spite of the challenges of staffing and obviously with all the COVID patients that we were having. So in spite of all that, I still managed to do it. So that's why they chose me.
Yeah, it's really making a stand for something that's worth standing and dying for. You know what I mean? You know, it was something. It's what heroes take to make a stand. You know, when everybody's seated, you wanted to stand up. When everybody stood up, you wanted to be a standout. When everybody became a standout, you became, you know, outstanding. You know, it's really about taking that stand so that you will be able to achieve what you stand for, even if it means something that might make you fall or even die. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Now, tell us the implication of that. You know, that citation. I mean, that prestige and that honor that you were given to the nurses in general, because 2020 was also the year of the nurses and the midwives, and you received it very similar to that year, and of course, pandemic came in at that year. What's the implication of what you received for nursing in general?
I think for me, from looking from the outside of what I was doing, I think on reflection of the actions I've done, I think it makes people realize that you don't have to have a special skill to be a nurse. All you have to have is that heart to care and that willingness to actually serve. Because as nurses, we do this as not for the money, not for the prestige, because being a nurse is not prestigious anyway. So you only have to have the heart and the willingness and the right attitude into caring and serving other people. Second, what I'm hoping with the nurses that were going through the pandemic, I was hoping that they were inspired that despite all the things that we went through, we are doing the things that we are doing for the right things and for the right purposes. And those things that drives us to be the best nurses that we could be or best healthcare workers that we could be, those are the things that we should endeavor to feed the passion to care and to look out for people and passion to serve our communities through the best, our best efforts. These are the things that we need to be feeding. So ako po, I'm in nursing because I love caring for other people. I love serving my community. I love to make people better. These are the things that drives me to do the things that I do, and also to look out for my other fellow nurses. And I'm hoping that through this experience, through me being out there, I hope that they get inspired that kahit na people will feel devalued or people would feel let down by the government or for whatever reason that is. I hope that inspires them that what we're doing and what we're doing it for is reason enough to stay. It's reason enough to do what we love to do. I'm hoping that for our future nurses, that they feel that actually nurses are now out there, Filipino nurses especially, we are given a face, we are given a voice, we are being heard, we are there. I'm hoping that it tells them that through my actions and through the things that I've been out there to do, that you have a voice, you matter. The things that you do are changes people's lives.
Right. And that's coming from you, who is actually in a country where the roots of nursing originated, and the Florence Nightingale story some decades, centuries ago, actually came into being, the mother of modern nursing. And I'm sure you had a chance to see the original lamp. You have seen her museum. I'm pretty sure about that. And of course, you're now grounded on the very roots of nursing as a profession, a country where it's all started, at least in the professionalization of it, no? What about being Filipino, May? What about being Filipino? There's something special about being Filipino. What's the implication of what you received for us?
Sa akin po, as a Filipino, again, we are the highest provider of healthcare or nursing around the globe. So I think for us, again, this is putting faith and putting quality and putting our culture up there. Now, for Filipinos to excel in the healthcare profession, you have to be imbued by the values that you've been given by your parents, by the school that you went in, by the culture that you're in. We are, as Filipinos, we are well known for our how we hold ourselves in public. So for how caring we are, how hospitable we are, how hardworking we are. Now I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit in saying that actually as Filipinos we need to be proud of who we are and where we came from. These are the things that makes us who we are, and the Filipino culture. There's so much richness in there, so much hospitality, and so much to be proud of. Despite of all the things that's happened before. Pero as Filipinos, I'm hoping po na people stand tall to say that actually when people ask you what country you come from or where you're from or what nationality you're in, I hope it gives them pride to say, I'm a Filipino, I am born a Filipino, and in my blood runs Filipino culture, and I'm proud of it. We stand tall for what we are. Di ba po? So I think
it's giving me goosebumps. Grabe. It's giving me goosebumps. I mean, for me, Parsons, to say that and to say it with so much pride and so much, I don't know, so much grounding on the truth of who you are and authenticity with how you said it, no? And let me connect that with the 6 years of your life spent in a university, 4 years as a student of nursing and 2 years as a staff nurse of the hospital. Tell us the implication of what you have received of for us Thomasians, not only Thomasian nurses but Thomasians in general.
Again, I cannot emphasize big enough and loud enough how as Thomasian students of any expertise, the culture and the values of UST has been imbued in me. And, obviously with our Filipino culture, it's being built on how I am. I've always been told in College of Nursing that we are the cream of the crop. We are the best of the best. And I think it just shows that our hearts are in the right place. It's not for anything. It's for success, clearly, but it's for everything else. It's for diversification. It's for promotion of our values as Thomasian graduates, Thomasian nurses. Sa akin po, I think it just goes to show now when I did my training in UST, the values imbued in me as a person, as a Filipino woman, as a nurse. These are all important for me in building my character and my individuality as a Filipino nurse. Kasi po, as a Thomasian nurse, you already know you stand out. You won't get to UST College of Nursing without actually saying to people, I deserve to be here. I am in the right place. My purpose is here. I know this is my vocation. I'm hoping that as Thomasian nurses, they realize how special they are. That we lead the way. We are the change makers of the world, and we actually, you almost kind of think that as Thomasian nurses, you can achieve anything because of the grounding and the values and the teaching that you've been given, and it's up to you to take that to the world and show them what Thomasian nurses are. And we do excel. We are cream of the crop.
Wow. And we will see you in November. We'll see you in November because you are a distinguished Thomasian alumna indeed. But May, when was the last time you cried deeply and hard? Was it when you were here?
Hindi po. Yung iyak ako yung libing po, di ba, ni Queen Elizabeth.
All right, of course. You
yeah. You cry. I cried in there. Kasi po, I was being interviewed by Sky News and they asked me what was the most memorable thing that happened on the procession. Sa akin po, it's from when they transferred her from the gun carriage to the hearse, and then she was going to go to Windsor Castle to get her interment. Sa akin po, it's almost kind of like it's actually real. You have, when you go through the stages of loss, that's how you kind of realize that actually she's gone, she's not there anymore. As someone who's a staunch supporter of the National Health Service and what it stood for, we're losing somebody who really and truly values what we stood for. So yun, naiyak po ako doon.
Pero may napugto yung mata mo when you had 30 minutes with our supposed to be rector, but you went to our vice rector.
Ay, naku.
Yeah.
So I was,
Paglabas ko after that, because we even had a pictorial pa, remember? By the main building. Then you went to the room with them. We were there in the conference hall. We were waiting for you. Then when you came out, you know, namugto yung mata mo. What, tell us, I was not there, but tell us what made you cry in that room with the vice rector.
Bali po, the vice rector kindly obviously hosted me in his office, and we were talking about my experiences during the pandemic as a frontline nurse, as a leader, as someone who is obviously looked up to by our staff to do the right thing in such hard situations, difficult situations. I was telling the vice rector and obviously our dean and the others in the room what I had to do during the pandemic when it started. So basically, I had to show myself. They were really, really scared about going into a room for a query consultation. Now, this patient really needed me. I felt that I have to be there to show myself that actually, if you do your BTE, if you do your infection control provision, you should be okay. I know that we were almost kind of like going blindly into danger because we didn't really know at that time. This was in March 2020. I went into the room just to show and to role model to my staff how it is to do the right thing to do to care for patients. Ay, natakot ka na, and you don't know if you're going to come out of it with infection and bring it home to your family. You still do it in the name of service, obviously provided that you are actually armed with science in terms of IPC, infection prevention control, and also your PPE. But I also volunteered to go to ICU on the first wave of the pandemic in the UK, and I was already a matron. I'm also already a leader. I didn't have to volunteer, pero doc, I volunteered because I felt this was my calling. This is the service that I have to do because I can help. Deep down, you know, I can still do all those things I need to do. So I volunteered to go to intensive care, even though I didn't need to. I was there for 6 weeks. Yeah. And also I wanted to, even though I wanted to do my service to the community and serve the people that needed me, I also worry about my family and taking the infection home. I told at that time, my 13-year-old boy, when I came home from work, after showering and making kaskas everything, and you have to wash everything. I told him not to hug me, even though he wanted to hug me. Now, those is one of the things that are really, truly heartbreaking when you think about it, that you needed from your family in order to protect them and to still be able to do your service for your community. So it was a balance I had to strike in terms of my service and my love for my family. It was a difficult time because obviously at that point you think that you're probably exposing them to dangerous virus, but then you're also told by your service to do what's right. So those were the things that were making me cry, thinking about what I had to decide, and also thinking back that if it went all wrong, I could have killed my family too, and you know, it's not killing myself, but I've also could have endangered them fatally. So that, I think, the burden of conscience, the burden of guilt is truly high.
It's actually joyful tears of victory, having succeeded amid the pandemic, amid the difficulty and the resiliency that actually gave you fruits of labor. And I think that's, anybody would have cried maybe a river, and having experienced what you have experienced, especially in a country like UK, and being given that recognition beyond beyond expectation. Because I knew that when you were doing what you had to do, you were not expecting that medal. Not even acknowledgement or recognition, but looking back and making yourself go back to that moment of making that difficult decision and telling yourself it's all worth it is, I think, the reason why I became witness to your tears many times when you were here, and I'm sure you'll.
Oh, I'm crying again.
I promise not to make you cry, because you know why you're crying, May, because you know from deep within that it was a sacrifice, like a hero decision you had to make. when you can actually be just in your office and be comfortable and safe. But thank God, God has not given you COVID vaccine up to now, COVID infection up to now. And then we're very happy to, it's a victory, yeah. Yeah. And, okay, let's go back. And Ma'am Ida is with us. She's just there in the background. Our mother, the mother of the nursing alumni of UST. Of course, we will not end this conversation without making you go back to UST and recall some special memories at UST. Your favorite food that around in within UST that you will remember.
The lempo po with the gravy in the pitan. I can't even remember the shop. So it's sizzling lempo with gravy.
Sizzling. I'll bring you that again when you're back here. Okay, your favorite spot in UST?
The ano po, yung corridors, kasi po meron kami nag-rehearse sa mga practice namin for if we're doing any project, when we did our thesis, at the back corridors where the stairs are.
Almer Sisling daw. Balita
yun ba yun? Tama, it's Almer.
Yeah, a professor you will never forget. Positively or negatively, but you'll never forget.
Nandun pa siya, si Sir, he was our second year advisor. Oh my goodness. I cannot forget him. He's still there.
The mind is got the picture of the man. Yeah. And
meron kaming full picture in the Thomasian statue. Professor, it's still there. I forgot.
It's okay. Yeah. And you will meet them.
Probably remember it.
You'll meet them again for sure when you're back here. Your favorite classmate?
Rochelle Chavez and Francisco Barrubias. They are my RLE and classmate, and also one of my really good friends, Kathleen Chan, who used to be a professor in UST up until 2 years ago. She's now in London with us. So the RLE, 4 of us are best friends.
Your favorite, your favorite hospital experience? You spent 2 years in the hospital. Your favorite spot at the UST hospital?
The favorite, as a staff nurse already, that would be, I was in operating room. So we had so much, meron kaming ghost stories in ORCD, operating room clinical division theater. Tapos meron kaming mga the traumas that we got there. It was really, they're the things that I couldn't forget. The friendships that we've built through the years in there. Pero po as a student, it was the students, there were so many. I did my first ward clinical sector, and one of the patients said to me, he was so scared kasi we were doing clinics and he was so scared. Pero I obviously was there as a student nurse. I was trying to tell him what we were doing. I was explaining to him what it was. Yeah. And he said to me at the end, Doc, sabi niya, how grateful he was that I was there. And even though I wasn't a fully fledged nurse, sabi niya sa akin that he valued me from his cousins and for the things that I've done for him to make me feel better. And that kind of cemented to me that this is what I wanted to do. So those are the things that I don't think I'll ever forget.
Very nice. What was your most memorable appeal to God when, of course, we all went to the Santissimo Rosario Parish, to the church? What was the most important prayer you would remember you asked the Lord when you went there?
At that time, I was going through difficulty with my personal life, family life. Pero ang sabi ko po sa kanya na, I remember telling him na this is such a rocky road in front of me, or the things that I was going through, but I know that he will show me the right way. So I just offered him myself and said that do what you wanted with my life and what I would do for it. So I think he guided me where I am now in terms of cementing the vocation, the work, the profession. So I think I remember telling him that I wasn't sure what's going to happen in my life because I was in difficulty. I was having such a horrendous time. So I just said to him that I truly, fully trust in the Lord, and He will show me the way, and I am here.
And having said that, yeah, you actually exuded the real Thomasian spirit that we are always here for our faith, for our hope, and for our love. The three things that last forever. And of course, we want to hear you up close and personal, fresh and alive and live during the distinguished Thomasian Alumni Awards night in November. And we'll see you here in May. We want to hear from you more. And what's your final message to all our Thomasian colleagues watching us now and later?
To all the Thomasians that are watching, I wanted you to know that I'm grateful to be one of you, and also I'd like to remind you about the pride of Thomasians and how we are in terms of what we do, what we serve for, and what we do, the things that we do. Please be proud of who you are and what you stand for, because Thomasians are truly, not just nurses, but especially nurses, Thomasian nurses. Thomasians are the things that are. You are the change leaders and change makers of the world, and the world is truly your oyster. I am a proud Thomasian and will always be, and just think and remember the values imbued in you by your family, by UST, and just remember the purpose of your being, the purpose of what you do for. And thank you for being you, and I'm so glad to be a Thomasian forever.
Beautiful. Nako, thank you very much, Miss May Parsons. Abangan niyo siya sa November when she comes back to the Philippines to be awarded the Distinguished Thomasian Alumni Awards. And dili ko na yata, pero of course, you're most deserving of that. And thank you so much, May. It's always nice talking to you. I did not make you cry, huh? I was about...
You did.
And as we bring to close our show today, we'd like to thank the UST Alumni Association Incorporated and the UST Nursing Alumni Association for bringing us this show. Special thanks to CBRC, Balita Review Center. Here at Bridges, we build connections of people and connections of knowledge and of new learnings. This is Dr. Carl Balita thanking you all. Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. See you again in our next episodes next week. Bridges an anniversary presentation. Goodbye and have a great evening ahead. Mabuhay ang UST. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Mabuhay! Isang mainit na pagbati mula sa puso, mula sa aming lahat, dito sa Bridges.
Isang pagbati po ng mapayapa, malusog, at magandang gabi sa isang espesyal na araw.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers here and abroad.
Good evening and good morning to all our viewers worldwide.
I'm truly honored to join you tonight.
Good afternoon from wherever you're at, and once again, thanks for tuning in.
Good evening to all our viewers around the world.
This is one of the best episodes we will have in Bridges, certainly, Ma'am Evelyn, right?
Totoo yan, because tonight, we're going to feature very well-known natin.
So, kanina nung greetings nyo kanina, sabi ko, ay, worldwide pala ito, kaya dapat i-cover ko lahat ng mga greetings ng morning, afternoon, and evening.
First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me. At ako yung inyong featured guest. Tumaba naman yung puso.
Thank you very much for joining us this very early morning there in LA.
Hindi ko nga pinatulog tong anak ko para gisingin lang ako. Kaya hanggang ngayon gising pa sila.
Siyempre, kailangan ko munang batiin ang ating mga kasamahan na Thomasino dito sa Bicol. ang mga Thomasinong Bicolano. Marami po sa kanilang nanonood ngayon.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pag-invite sa akin dito at magandang gabi. Thank you sa mga viewers.
I'm so glad po and it's really a big privilege to be here po in this episode of Bridges.
Salamat sa magandang pagpapakilala. May kulang po doon. Sa UST Hospital din po ako pinanganak. Kaya talagang Thomasian.
Thomasian all the way.
Welcome to the show. Ganda pa naman ang sinabi ko, hindi ko na narinig. So, hi everyone and nice to be back.
So glad to be here on Bridges at naway magkaroon tayo ng mas fruitful na pag-usapan.
So, Father, good afternoon.
Marami pa mga youth ngayon, mga kabataan, mga K-pop. Panyong siyo.
Magandang gabi din sa ating mga fellow Thomasians and all those who are watching.
I'm glad for trusting me for this particular very important topic.
Kailangan po natin ng mga bridges na katulad ninyo at marami pong tumutulong sa ating mga adhikain.